Hello, everyone. We're back. It feels good to be back. My name is Keith. If you're new, I am your meditation teacher here on this channel, Meditation Breaks. And quick before we do anything else, thank you for everyone for being patient with me. I definitely was one of the many people who had some travel issues. So I wasn't able to get back in time to stream last week, but I'm back now. As you can see, this familiar setting of my blue wall. So I appreciate you guys being patient and for all your well wishes. Okay, so here we are. It's New Year, 2023. And so that's what we're going to focus on today, of course, right? We're going to focus on what do we do in the new year? Resolutions are goals, right? So that's going to be our topic for today. Every class, we always do a topic. But before we get into that topic, I always like to kind of set the stage for what even is meditation. A lot of you are new. Maybe this is your first time ever trying meditation at all. And you might be like, well, yeah, setting goals seems important, Keith, but I'd like to know what meditation is first. And so we're going to do that first. So we'll start with that. We'll start with a little introduction to, my lamp is on the wrong side. I think my camera is flipped. I had to redo my setup, and then now everything's all weird. So sorry. I'll try to fix it for next time so everything's back to normal. So we'll start with an introduction to meditation, and then we'll get into our topic for today. Now, if you're new, please ask questions. Take advantage of the fact that I'm live-ish, and if you do have a question, feel free to ask it at any time. You don't have to wait for me to be like, hey, got a question? You can just ask it. Best way to do that is to just type it in the chat, like you see some people typing in there now, and I will answer your question. So if anything isn't making sense, or you have a question about some experience you've had trying meditating, or whatever, anything, feel free to ask me at any time. All right? Cool. Okay, so we're going to get started. And as we always do, you get started by asking the question, what is meditation? Right? What does that word mean? So when we think about that word, the thing that comes to mind is probably somebody sitting on the floor cross-legged with their eyes closed or something like that. Right? That's kind of our traditional, this is our kind of traditional image of what meditation is. And this is a way to meditate. You could meditate sitting on the floor with your eyes closed. But this is not meditation per se. It's a form of meditation. What meditation really is, all it is a technique used to train your mind to become familiar with something. Might be interesting phraseology. Is that a word? It's not something we think about a lot, right? Training our mind, right? But we do it every day. We are learning stuff. Our mind is learning, becoming familiar with stuff every day, right? So meditation is all about actively taking this thing that we're kind of doing absent-mindedly throughout the day and turning it into a really focused practice, right? So if we think about something we're really familiar with, like tying your shoe, that's an example I like to use a lot. You've been doing it a long time, and as such, you're very good at it. You don't really need to think too much about tying your shoe anymore, I would imagine. You can probably do it with your eyes closed, which is pretty impressive. It might not seem like that, but if you think way back to when you were a kid, tying your shoe was nearly impossible, right? It's this wild task. It's like a Rubik's Cube. that you had to solve. And you did it. You solved it. At first, it was near impossible. And then a little bit each day, practice, 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 practice. What happened? All the mechanics necessary for tying your shoe, both mental and physical, they've become so familiar to you that tying your shoe is not a big deal anymore. It comes pretty naturally, right? You could say it comes effortlessly, right? So the same is true for all things that we learn, right? Whether it's driving or walking or learning a new language or whatever job that we have, and the same is true for mental states. So that's what we focus on with meditation generally. Thinking about kindness is something that we can become really familiar with. Thinking about relaxation, right? So a lot of people get into meditation to relax. Meditation isn't creating relaxation. It's teaching you to become so familiar with the relaxed version of yourself, which I know is in there. It might seem like it doesn't show up that often, but it's in there, right? You know it. You've seen it before. Meditation is teaching you to become so familiar with that version of yourself that it shows up more effortlessly. We don't have to try as hard to be calm, to be relaxed, to be patient, all these wonderful things that we want to do. Right? Works both ways though, right? Our mind can learn to become super familiar with being relaxed, and that's wonderful, but our mind can also learn to become super familiar with things like anxiety, right? That's why if we've been having anxiety for a long time, that I got into meditation a long time ago for anxiety. That's something that almost pops up effortlessly now, right? Because our mind is so familiar with those thoughts that they flow in really naturally, all right? So this concept of our mind becoming familiar with something, it's like our superpower, right? And with meditation, we're teaching ourselves to control our superpower, right? To harness it for good, right? So that's really kind of at the core of what meditation is. It's about choice. We're choosing what you want to be familiar with. Do you want to be familiar with patience? Do you want to be more familiar with being relaxed rather than being anxious? Of course. But there's a training, right, involved. We have to teach our mind to become super familiar with these things, right? Because our mind just does what it normally does. It does what it's used to. So if we can get it used to being relaxed, being calm, being peaceful, wow, our mind's going to do the work for us. Cool? So that's all well and good, but how do we actually get started training in meditation? So if you have tried meditation before, you've probably tried breathing meditation. We're going to do a little breathing meditation here together, and it's pretty straightforward from an instructional standpoint. We're going to focus so exclusively on one thing, in this case our breath, that all other things, right? All the other busyness in our mind. Oh, worry about work tomorrow. Oh, what do I have to do? What do I have to make for dinner? Or I have this event coming up. All these things, the chatter in our mind, it's going to start to fade away. We're so focused on our breath that all the things that aren't our breath start to fade away a little bit. And as a result, we just naturally relax. Right? This is called single-pointed concentration, if you want the fancy definition of it. And it's kind of similar to if you've ever been in the zone, sometimes it's called flow state or something. If you're an athlete, a lot of times athletes experience this when they're exercising, right? Very focused on something. Everything else starts to fade away a little bit. Or if you're working on a project at work, right? Lose track of time. Maybe the noises of the office, they're kind of they're not there anymore. They're still there. They don't disappear, but it's as if they have. Right? So we're going to start to train in doing this intentionally, right? And the beauty of this is we don't need any special setup, we can just do this by using our breath, right? That's why breathing meditation is often used as a starting point, because if you can become pretty adept at using your breath to help you relax, well, you have your breath with you all the time. So that's a nice tool in a tool belt that you'll always have. So we're going to do a little breathing meditation now. And like I said, instructionally, it's pretty straightforward. We're going to choose to focus exclusively on our breath. I'll be guiding you through this, so you're not going to be on your own here. And then whenever you notice your attention is no longer exclusively focused on your breath, right? Maybe you're thinking about work tomorrow or something like that. We're going to be like, oh, not right now to those thoughts. That's kind of our little saying for ourselves. Not right now. We're not saying those thoughts are bad. We're not saying those thoughts are not important. We're just saying, not right now. Right? We're telling our mind, not right now, mind. We are focusing on our breath, and then we're going to guide our attention back. So it's 3 steps. Meditation is 3 steps. We choose to focus single-pointedly on our breath. We notice when our attention drifts. We bring our attention back to breathing. That's it. We're going to do that over and over again for just a little while. It won't be more than 5 minutes. And as a result of this, we're going to start to have our mind be so fixated on our breath that other things are going to start to fade away a little bit, right? We relax naturally. We settle naturally. Start to see relaxed you, little glimpses of it. Does that sound good? Any questions before we get started? If you do have any questions that come up, we can talk about them afterwards. There's no pressure to think of something. You'll notice I'm in a chair. And when you think about meditation, we often think about sitting on the floor with our legs crossed or something like that, right? You can do that if you want, but you don't need to. There's no specific setup that you need in order to meditate. So if you have a comfy chair, sit in that comfy chair. If you like sitting on the floor, you can go sit on the floor. If you had a long day and you want to lay down, go lay down. Doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is you're relatively comfortable. That way you're not hyper-focused on being uncomfortable, which would distract us from focusing on our breath. Cool? Okay. So get nice and comfy. Go ahead and close your eyes. And I'm going to guide us through about a 5-minute breathing meditation. Whenever we start a meditation, the first thing we always do, we check in with ourselves. Ask yourself, how am I feeling right now? In this exact moment. Maybe you're feeling tired from a long day. Maybe you're feeling energized. Maybe you're feeling happy. Maybe you're a little melancholy. Whatever it is, it does not matter. We're not doing anything about it. We're just noticing. This is called mindfulness. Mindfulness is an active awareness of your own thoughts, moment to moment, for the purpose of being able to respond skillfully to those thoughts. So just take a moment, check in. Having done that, you can now turn your full attention to your breath. Breathing in and out, gently and naturally. You do not need to take big, deep breaths. You do not need to forcefully exhale. Just breathe as you normally would, whatever comes natural to you. in and out. Feel yourself relaxing a little bit into your chair or cushion. Very smooth, very gentle breathing. In and out. As you're sitting here, breathing, focused on your breath, you'll eventually notice your attention drifting. Maybe you're starting to think about something you have to do later after this class ends. Maybe you're starting to think about something that happened earlier today. Whenever you notice your mind drifting in this way, we can just say not right now to those thoughts. We'll get to them later. And then guide your attention back to your breath. Back to breathing in and breathing out. Gently, naturally. Single-pointedly focused on each moment of each breath. Following the air as it enters your nose, sits, and then following that same air as it exits. A moment-to-moment interest in the entire journey of each breath. In and out. Gently, naturally, as you begin to relax a little bit more into your chair or cushion. Keep bringing your attention back to your breath as many times as you need to. This process of choosing to focus single-pointedly on your breath, noticing when your attention drifts, and being able to bring your attention back to breathing. That is meditation. You are meditating right now. You are training your mind to be calm, to access its natural, peaceful state. You are training your mind to focus on what you want to focus on. And right now, the only thing we're focusing on is breathing in and breathing out, gently, naturally. So just for the next few moments, continue to breathe and just enjoy sitting here with your breath, relaxing. That's it. Okay. When you're ready, you can open your eyes. Hello, welcome back. Mary, welcome. How'd that go? So that's a pretty traditional, straightforward breathing meditation. Right? There's not that many steps. There's actually 3. We're choosing to focus on our breath single pointedly. We're like making a promise to ourselves to do that. We're noticing when our attention drifts. And whenever we notice that this happens, we're not like beating ourselves up about it. We're just like, oh, my attention has drifted. And then we bring our attention back. That's it. Right? Now, if you're new, probably one of 2 things happened. You're like, hey, that wasn't that hard. Or you're like, that was very hard. So it doesn't, whatever your experience was or is fine. Like, sometimes I've been meditating a really long time, and sometimes I even like my mind is so busy that it's very hard for me to kind of settle in. I have to constantly bring my attention back. Like maybe every 3 seconds, I'm like, whoop, bring it back. But that's perfect, right? So sometimes when we think about meditation, we're like, oh, okay, the goal is to never get distracted, to be totally single-pointedly focused 100% of the time. And then anytime our attention gets distracted, we're like, hey, oh man, I didn't do good. No. Meditation is about noticing when you're getting distracted so you can bring yourself back to the thing that you want to focus on, right? It's not about never getting distracted. It's about increasing our awareness, right? Our mindfulness, if you will, about being able to notice where our mind is at any given moment. Cool? Okay. Any thoughts, questions about that? If not, we're going to move on to everyone's favorite New Year's topic. Goal setting. Resolutions. Right? So there's a whole holiday involved in us setting goals. Every year we do it. I don't know who you can't. I can't control my stomach pain. Yeah. No. Okay. Great. This is actually a great. Thanks for bringing this up. Right. So meditation is often used for chronic pain, physical pain. Right. Now, it doesn't remove pain, but what happens is if once we become kind of adept at meditating, we can become so focused on our breath per se that the stomach pain starts to fade a little bit, right? And in the throes of physical pain, this can be really challenging. But we've seen this happen before, like I had a knee injury from skiing, and it would be really painful, all the time. But then sometimes I would be like working really diligently on something like for work, and like my knee didn't hurt. But then I would think about it, like, oh, my knee, and then my knee hurts. So meditation can be a wonderful tool in helping with physical pain. Not so much as like curing that physical ailment for you, but teaching you to be able to control the mental pain that comes along with physical pain, right? The hyper focused on it. When will this go away? Why does it have to be like this? Those kind of things that are a part of physical pain. So yeah, it can be challenging, for sure. I do a whole class on that. Maybe I'll do that again. I think it's been a while, since I've done a class on physical pain, but there's some good meditations for it. Cool. Thanks for bringing it up. All right. So goals. There's a whole holiday dedicated to goals. Every year we do it. I don't know who came up with this idea. It was brilliant. Because we should probably be doing it more often. But here we are, right? It's a new year. And what do we do on the new year? We make resolutions, right? Or goals, same thing, right? And these are really tough to keep. I don't know if you've noticed, but it's hard to keep resolutions. over how many years we've been alive, how many times have we kept them? I don't know. It's not easy to keep them, right? And there's a lot of reasons why, right? Part of it is routine building. So, the same thing with trying to learn meditation is this is a new thing, right? And at first it takes a lot of effort because it's new. It's not part of our routine. We're like, I can't fit it into my schedule. I don't want to do it, right? But, like working out, same thing, right? But once it becomes part of our routine, well, it seems a little less daunting, right? So the same is true for any type of kind of goal, right? Routine is important. Right? But before we even get to the point of like, here's the thing that I want to work on, and here's the routine I'm going to do, right? We got to figure out what our goal is. Like, what do we want? What do we want to do? And how do we kind of nurture that to the point where it becomes like this everlasting flame, right? This goal, right? Us working towards this goal is like this thing that won't extinguish, right? So that's kind of what we're going to work on today. And that's really, really where meditation comes into play, right? Mary, one week out from hand thumb surgery, still have some pain. More meditation for reasons right now is good. Not the best way to start the new year. I'm sorry to hear that. Look, you get a lot of sympathy from me. I have every year I almost have a major surgery on my hand or something like that. I'm always hurting my hand. I'm sorry about that. It is not the best way to start the new year, but hey, look, this is good. It's a little challenge for you, but we can use this. Maybe we can't go out and do maybe some of the things that we wanted to do, but maybe we have a little more time to sit home and meditate and stuff. So maybe there's a silver lining there, right? Hope you get better soon, Mary. All right. So there's two things we're going to talk about today. Two words that sound very similar, but are not. Inspiration. Heard that one before. And then aspiration, which maybe you've heard before. I didn't before I heard of this when I was taught this a while ago. I was like, I don't even know that was a word. So inspiration and aspiration, right? They sound very similar, but they are different, but they are very closely related. They're like kind of there's a kinship there, right? So inspiration, think of it as like a spark, right? Spark to start a fire, right? To start a flame. You're looking at a little fire in the fireplace, cozy. It started as a little spark, and now it's this wonderfully warm, beautiful, flame, right? So inspiration is this spark. And where does inspiration come from? It can come from anywhere, right? Seeing something, hearing something, reading something, having a thought, right? You're here today, right? Learning about meditation, right? Something sparked that interest, right? You didn't just randomly appear here. Yeah. So there was like some thought, something happened, and you're like, meditation's a cool thing. Like maybe I should check that out, right? Boom. There's like an inspiration for you, right? So when we're thinking about setting goals, setting resolutions, it's important to keep an eye out for inspiration. Right. And I mentioned mindfulness earlier in the meditation. It's a pretty big topic. We talk about it a lot here. But very quickly, mindfulness is an active awareness of your thoughts on like a moment-to-moment basis. And the reason, there's a purpose for it, not just to be like, there's a tree, I'm thinking about blah, blah. But like the reason is that way you're aware when your mind gravitates towards something. Right. So you're aware when inspiration might be happening, for example, for this, right? When I was first being taught this, I had a teacher who said something that I thought was kind of cool. It always stuck with me. And he said, "What moves your mind?" I'm like, I don't know. I think I was actually asked in a class, and then I like froze up, It's interesting. What moves your mind? What do you gravitate towards, right? What things are important to you is essentially what we're getting at. And some of us find setting goals to be pretty easy. Like we can really think about this. Others, this might be really difficult. I'm on the more difficult side, where I don't normally think about that stuff. So sometimes I have to sit down and make a point to, right? So the goal for setting goals, at least as far as we're concerned here, is we're going to find something that you actually want to accomplish, not something that like society says you should accomplish. It might be like, oh, I get a promotion. That'd be cool. Lose 20 pounds. Yeah, I should do that. These are kind of some of the things that we default to when we're thinking of setting New Year's resolutions. But if they are not something you actually like are inspired to do, well, it's going to be a lot of effort for you to kind of get behind it, right? It's already hard to do things that you want to do. So if it's something that you don't really want to do, it's going to be even more difficult, right? So spending some time in thinking about what do I actually want to do, right? It is a good first step, and meditation is wonderful for that. We just did a little breathing meditation where we sat and relaxed for a little while. We're focusing our thoughts, right? And sometimes when we kind of remove all the busyness, what happens? A little more clarity, right? A little less busyness, a little less static, a little more clarity, right? So maybe we can be like, oh yeah, it'd be kind of cool learning a new language. I don't know. I'm just saying something. But when we're keeping an eye out for inspiration, the reason why that's so important is because it is your mind is like gravitating towards something that's important to you, right? Rather than something that like I said, society is like saying this should be important to you, right? With inspiration, your mind is being moved by something, reading something or hearing something, right? And then noticing that is really important, right? If you can't notice that you're getting inspired, well, you're probably not going to be doing anything about it, right? And the doing anything about it is the aspiration part, right? So inspiration is kind of the prerequisite to aspiration. Right? Maybe you have been inspired by something and you've written down your New Year's resolution, and that's awesome. Maybe you're a little behind this year. You're like, I wasn't going to do one. That's fine. Keep an eye out for it, right? We don't have to go find it, right? But being aware, being open to inspiration as they come is the most crucial part of kind of like expanding ourselves, right? Okay. So we're inspired by something. Now what? What do we do? When we get inspired by something, what happens? Well, one of two things usually. One, we forget about it almost immediately. Like, that'd be awesome. That'd be so cool to learn a new language. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll go back to work. Right? We kind of just like forget about it. The other is that we like really dive in to this thing so much that maybe we get a little burnt out, right? So we want to kind of find a balance in between these two things. And this is where this concept of aspiration comes into play. Right. I was home visiting my family, had a great time. And my brother, I'm gonna talk about my brother. I don't know if he's watching. Maybe he will. It'd be funny for him. I was at his house for the holidays, and this was his first time hosting. He just had a new baby, and so everyone's going to him. And I'm sitting on one of his comfy little chairs. And my brother's like starting a fire, like in the fireplace, not like just in the house. Now I've never seen my brother do this before, ever. I've never seen him tend to the fire ever. So this was great. This is very fun for me. I was like, oh, this is a new thing you're doing. But he got like really inspired about this, right? Like we were all kind of hanging out. He's like, hey, you know what? Like, let's make a fire. Like, I don't know what happened. He thought about it. Maybe he was watching an old like watching a movie or something, and they had a nice cozy fire. But something happened, and he was inspired to like make this fire for all of us, right? And so he goes out and gets wood. The whole time I'm like, is this happening? I've never seen him do this. And so he gets the wood, he's putting it in there, right? And he's got this nice little fire going. It's lovely. Yeah, we're all enjoying it. And then what happens? Oh, he's got other stuff he's got to do. He's hosting, right? So now he's talking to this person over here, and then be like, oh, the fire, and then he comes back and he'll rework on the fire, right? And then, more people come in, more family comes in, and, there's a lot more people he's got to talk to now, and the fire is starting to diminish a little bit, right? He diminished a little bit. And then later he's like, oh, the fire, and he comes back, right? But eventually, we get so busy doing other things that what happens to the fire? It extinguishes, right? So this is like a good analogy for inspiration and aspiration, right? The inspiration is, the fire. Like, let's make a fire. It'll be great, right? We're motivated. We do it, right? And then what happens? We're starting to get distracted by other things. We forget about the fire that was so important to us. That was so cool, right? And then maybe we remember it and we come back to it, but then we forget a little bit more, and eventually maybe we forget about it entirely and the fire goes out. So aspiration is the key to keeping the fire going. Inspiration is the spark that lights it. Aspiration is what keeps it going. Aspiration can be thought of as like a determination to engage in this meaningful thing. Right? Like an unwavering determination to follow through on your inspiration. Right? We're so like, it's not possible for us to forget this goal, to forget how important this goal is to us. That's like, we couldn't possibly forget about it. That's how important it is to us, how like ingrained in us it is, right? That's aspiration. And once you have that, the effort starts to flow more naturally, which is really what we're after, right? When we're trying to accomplish something, we want natural effort, right? And natural effort comes from being joyful about doing something, right? So like I was saying before, finding something that's actually interesting to you. But it also comes from reminding yourself why you're doing this. Remind yourself of the benefits of this. So much so that you don't forget the benefits of doing this thing, right? So this is what we're gonna do a little meditation together, and this is what we're gonna focus on. We're gonna focus on using meditation to help us develop aspiration, right? And just like we did breathing meditation before, where we were single-pointedly focused on our breath, we can be single-pointedly focused on anything, that is still meditation, right? And so when we're thinking about goals, or we have one and we want to make it really concrete for us, we can meditate on the benefits of this goal. Why do I want to do this? How will this make my life better? What will my life be like if I was able to accomplish this? This is really important. It might seem kind of corny to like think about it, but aspiration develops from fully understanding the benefits of what you're doing, right? If you're like 100% committed to mind, body, memory, heart, that this thing is what you need to do, is so important, well, then you're going to do it. I mean, you're doing it, right? There's just no stopping you. Cool? All right. So let's do another little meditation together. We're going to start similar to how we did before. And then I'll guide us through just a very brief kind of like visual exercise on aspiration. Some of the things that we talked about here today. Cool? All right. Oh, just one last thing. When early in the session, we talked about how meditation and familiarity, right, are like synonymous. Familiarizing our mind with something. That's what we're doing here, right? We're familiarizing our mind with the benefits of this goal so much that we never forget the benefits of this goal. right? We always come back to the fire. My brother always comes back to the fire. Okay. Go ahead and close your eyes. Get comfy again. We're going to do another little meditation together. So very quickly, let's just check in. How are you feeling now? In this exact moment. We're not comparing it to before. Before is done. Just now. We're practicing our mindfulness. An active awareness of our own thoughts. Having checked in, you can once again turn your attention to your breath. Breathing in, breathing out. Gently, naturally. Single-pointedly focused on each moment of your breath. Following the air as it leaves the atmosphere, enters your body, breathing life into your lungs, and then exits. A moment-to-moment interest, fascination with breathing, in and out, gently, naturally. At some point, you may find yourself getting a little distracted. Maybe you're thinking about something you have to do later or something happened earlier today. Whenever you notice that has happened, no big deal. We can just say, not right now, to those thoughts. We'll get to them later. And then guide your attention back to breathing. This practice, noticing when your attention drifts, bringing it back. This is also mindfulness. You're honing the skills you need to notice inspiration when it shows itself, so you can act on it. So just breathe in and out, gently, naturally, as you allow yourself to relax a little bit into your chair or cushion. Today we talked about two really awesome and important things, keys to unlocking our own potential, to completing the goals that we set for ourselves. We talked about inspiration, being open, keeping an eye out for things that move your mind, bring you joy, things that spark emotion. And then we also talked about aspiration, turning our inspiration into an everlasting flame, an immovable wish to accomplish a goal. So we're going to do a little meditation right now on aspiration. I'd like you to bring to mind something that you'd like to do. Something that's important to you. If you have already thought about your New Year's resolutions, take one of those. If you haven't set them or don't plan to, just think about something that's interesting to you. Something you'd like to do. Can be anything, small or big, doesn't matter. Just bring it to mind, whatever it is. And I'd like you to take a moment and think about, what are the benefits of doing this thing, achieving this goal? What would it mean for me? How would I change? How would my day change? How would my life change? Why do I want to do this? What are the benefits? Just imagine it. And of those benefits, I'd like you to pick one to focus on. Just one. Bring that benefit to mind, to the forefront of your thought. We're focusing on it single-pointedly. We're imagining our life having accomplished our goal with this wonderful benefit now fully realized. Just imagine it. We're using our imagination. How do you feel? How does it feel to have achieved this? To have this dream become a reality? An unwavering knowledge of the benefits of doing something is the key to effortlessly working towards it. If you truly, fully, wholeheartedly know that doing this thing will be of benefit to you, you will naturally start to work on it. You'll naturally start to work on it more and more. It will no longer be a goal, a resolution. It will just be a part of your life, a part of you. We can use meditation to remind ourselves every day the benefits of this thing we want to accomplish. To become so familiar with why we're doing it that we never forget. We never forget the importance of dedicating time and energy towards accomplishing this goal. If you can do that, well, there's nothing stopping you from achieving this. So just sit with that for a couple of moments. Allow yourself to feel empowered that you can do this, and you will do this. Okay, when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Hello. So what we did there, well, it started out the same, right? Generally, we start most meditations by doing a little breathing meditation just to kind of relax. But then what did we do? We were focusing, instead of focusing single-pointedly on our breath, we were focusing single-pointedly on our goal, right? The benefits of our goal. Specifically one, sometimes there's obviously a lot of benefits maybe towards the thing that we're doing, but it's good we'll focus on one to really kind of commit it to memory. But the idea here is to kind of show you that you can meditate on the benefits of your goal the same way you would meditate on your breath. And then whenever you find yourself thinking about, I gotta go to work, do this thing at work tomorrow, like, no. I'll think about that later. I'm meditating on the benefits of this goal. Yeah, it's the exact same thing, right? So this is the kind of beauty of meditation is once we start to realize, it's not just about focusing on my breath. I can use this for anything. This is where it starts to become like a really powerful tool for us. And it is a really powerful tool for goal setting, achieving our goals, reminding ourselves of why we're doing these things. Because look, we're busy. There's a lot of distractions for us, even things that are really important to us sometimes fall by the wayside because, look, we have a lot of responsibilities. And so taking some time to refamiliarize yourself with the benefits of this really important thing, it can be really powerful for you, keeping the motion going, right? Like a river just flowing slowly, right? We don't want it to stop. It's fine if it's going slowly. We just want to keep moving. Cool. That was powerful. I loved how we got deeper into one goal, made it more clear and focused. Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah. Pick there. Like I said, there's for whatever your thing you want to accomplish is. There's probably more than one reason to do it. And that's a little subjective too. Everyone has reasons for doing things. So pick one that is really important to you, and let that be the thing that drives you. Cool. Awesome. Thanks. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Cool. So that's it for today. If you enjoyed yourself, come on back. I do these every week, barring some sort of unexpected event that prevents me from doing so. But I do plan on being here next week. So come on back next week. We'll talk about something else meditation related. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel already, I encourage you to do so. All my old videos are up there. So you're like, hey, Keith, goals are cool, but I want to learn about anxiety. Okay. I got some stuff there. I teach anxiety live very regularly, but if you're like, I need to know now, we can go look at my old videos up there. You get notifications whenever I'm going live. So maybe you forget, don't forget about me. Right? Maybe you forget it's Wednesday. Oh, it's meditation time. Right. It's also really helpful for me too. So, thank you for anyone who does, subscribe. Thank you. I appreciate that. Lastly, if you're like, hey, meditation seems pretty cool, I'm into this, I'd like to see where I could go with it. I do private instruction, This is probably I think one of the best ways to learn, mostly because we can focus on things that are really important to you, right? Similar to what we were talking about today. So if, let's say, anxiety is why you're here, like that's the thing, that's the motivating factor for you learning meditation. Well, we can focus on that, right? So if one-on-one instruction is of interest to you, you can just email me, and we can figure out a time to make that happen. I do it over Zoom. It's very casual and laid back. I'll put my email in the chat right now for everyone. It is keith@meditationbreaks.com. Cool. I typed it correctly. That's my email. Feel free to email me if you want to do a one-on-one. Also, if you just have any questions about meditation as you're doing this on your own, you don't ever hesitate to email me. All right. Tom, 9 weeks into, I forgot about your knee. 9 weeks into knee replacement surgery. It's going great. Oh, Tom, thank you. I appreciate that. And I'm glad that you're doing good again. I'm glad that you're on the mend. Right. Keep it up. Martha, thank you. Patrick, thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Mary, thank you. Thanks everyone for being here, taking time out of your busy day to be here to learn something new. I love teaching, and that you make that possible. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk to you about something that's of an interest to me, and hope you found it relaxing or insightful or helpful or any or all of the above. And I do hope to see you all next week. Good luck with your goals, all right? All right, thanks. See ya.